Well, China's foreign ministry says it is trying to verify reports of Chinese nationals being captured in Ukraine. This comes after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy claimed his army had captured 2 Chinese fighters who they believe have been fighting alongside Russian troops. Geopolitical strategist Velina Tchakarova says Zelenskyy's timing was strategic in underscoring the involvement of foreign nationals in the war.
I'm certainly not surprised because that hasn't been the first announcement regarding the involvement of foreign troops on behalf of Russia. And I think that Zelenskyy's announcement is a strategic move to kind of, let's say, put the spotlight on this growing axis between China and Russia on the one hand, but also by extension, this famous Kring's axis with Iran, North Korea, Syria, because we've seen actually involvement of North Korean troops as well, and some Syrian mercenaries. So this isn't the first time reports have emerged about Chinese nationals fighting for Russia. But I think that right now it's an important timing also to draw the attention and maybe even to trigger some kind of Western reaction to this.
And might that happen? I mean, why is Volodymyr Zelenskyy now drawing China closer towards this conflict?
Well, obviously, because we are in the middle of an important negotiation process initiated by the US. So on the one hand, there is growing pressure on Ukraine when it comes to certain concessions, be it territorial or political ones. And on the other hand, we're also witnessing now a unique process of negotiations, direct negotiations between Russia and United States, which is a separate process. So by drawing the attention on, let's say, the involvement of Chinese nationals fighting for Russia, here the idea is also, or let's say the goal is to show a direct link between China and Russia. So you have a process of approximation with Russia on behalf of the US, but then again, the US, as we've been witnessing from the last 2 weeks, are engaging in a real war trade with China. So there will be repercussions because of the Chinese support for Russia in this war.
Yes, and as far as the arrest of those 2 Chinese nationals are concerned, at least the claims by Volodymyr Zelenskyy, do you believe them to be just simply mercenaries or perhaps Chinese military?
Well, this is, of course, in my view, the most important questions, because we know for a fact that, Chinese troops, Chinese army, the PLA, is lacking a real war experience. So we might assume that one goal would be for China to not just gather information on American weapon systems being deployed in Ukraine, but also, to give a green light to deployment of, Chinese soldiers for the sake of gaining this war experience. This could be one assumption. Of course, as war is a dirty business, we have plenty of proof of actually foreign, mercenaries fighting on behalf of Russia in this war, from North Korea to Syria and Africa. Think of fighters from Wagner Group operations, as well as Central Asian nationals.
And on those 2 assumptions, do you believe that there might be more Chinese fighters, whether they are mercenaries or militaries, fighting on Russia's side?
Well, it's not just about the fighting. It's also about, as I said, the gathering of information about how American support for Ukraine has been organized, facilitated, and provided. It is about gathering of information about American weapon systems for the sake of Chinese national interests. You know why? Because of the growing tensions between the United States and China, for instance, in the Indo-Pacific region, as well as, I think strategic goal here, as I said, is to also gather information on the American sanctions. So you have a kind of comprehensive approach here. You have the tactical one that is linked, of course, to the lack of experience, as I said. And I think that we might be witnessing more actually deployment on behalf of China. But at the same time, it is important to understand that from Russian perspective, Moscow does not want the world to know that it is experiencing difficulties on the ground. And that is why Moscow will be very cautious to, allow this kind of revelation. So we might actually end up witnessing more quantitatively, more deployment, but at the very same time, it will be, in my view, very, very much controlled kind of participation on behalf of foreign nationals.
Yes, and Velina, as all of this is happening, Russian forces are now reportedly gaining more ground in the Kursk region and say that they are close to retaking the entire region. How big a blow might this be for the Ukrainian cause?
So it's important to understand that the Kursk operation on behalf of the Ukrainian troops was right from the beginning an important tactical operation and not strategic one, to draw the attention away from other key front lines and to really gain time ahead of upcoming negotiations. So here, of course, from Russian perspective, the main goal is to take full control over or regain full control over Kursk Oblast ahead of, let's say, the announcement of any full ceasefire. Why? Because it's about the symbolism, the Russian tactical goal here is to project strength. So as long as there are Ukrainian counteractions on Russian soil, this messaging is not going to work. And in my view, this is why we are now also witnessing this intensified, tensions also on Russian ground, and not only actually in the Kursk Oblast, also in Belgorod. And of course, this is tactically very important for the Ukrainian forces to actually poke the bear and show that there are weak spots and that this messaging, towards the world is not really working, that Russia has it fully under control right now.
Okay, Velina Tchakarova, I really appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the invitation.